This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to Flipping 50, where I address your top questions and struggles. I share what to eat, how to move, and how to think to get the energy and the vitality that you want in this second and better half. And buckle your seatbelts, because if you are half as excited as I am about my guest today, you have good vibes going on. You'll learn more about that later. Robyn Openshaw is the author of 15 books, including bestsellers The Green Smoothies Diet and 12 Steps to Whole Foods. Her latest book, Vibe, Unlock the Energetic Frequencies of Limitless Health, Love, and Success, will be released by Simon & Schuster in October of 2017. I'm so excited. She's a former psychotherapist, so really I should shut up right now, university professor, and lectured in over 450 cities in the 6 years after launching her popular site, greensmoothiegirl.com, in 2007. So we need to give a happy birthday or happy anniversary to that. She's a single mom to 4 children who are now flying the coop. She skis and plays tennis competitively in Utah and believes that everything is possible if you leverage the highest frequencies in the universe. You can find her podcast, Your High Vibration Life, on iTunes. Also look for Green Smoothie Girl on Facebook and visit her website, greensmoothiegirl.com. Robyn Openshaw, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure entirely. Thank you for having me, Deborah.
So I'm super excited to talk to you about so many things. And I had to get a head start today. So I don't know if you've seen my Instagram post, but I posted a green smoothie. I was like, I'm doing research. Totally doing this.
Love it.
So I think that was nerves, actually. You've done so much in 10 years. But before we dive into the book, which I'm very excited about, because I think we have kind of a parallel attitude about what we're doing, you with nutrition, me more so with exercise. But let's talk Green Smoothie Girl first, just to really introduce you to all of our listeners. So given your background, I mean, where did Green Smoothie Girl come from?
Yeah, why does a college professor and psychotherapist end up with this crazy viral, weird greensmoothiegirl.com website? No, it's a great question. And I'm gonna actually tell you something I hardly ever say. Most of my own followers, even the ones who've been following me for 10 years, don't know this. But the site actually came to be because my family went on the ABC Disney reality show Wife Swap.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I swapped lives with an inner city Albuquerque family, and they had a skate shop, and nobody had ever eaten a whole food in their life. And I was sort of scripted to be, and I say scripted because it probably won't surprise you to know that reality TV shows are very scripted, and they cherry pick the bits and pieces of who you are to make you look like a very specific kind of person. Well, I was sort of the overachiever, overeducated, ambitious mom, not very, they kind of cut out all the parts where I smile and laugh and kind of made me sort of the hard ass, right? And so I was that mom of 4 kids. And, if you miss your ride to school, then you have to walk, and my kids drink a green smoothie every day. And really they honed in on this green smoothie thing that I was doing, and a couple other things, but that was really the focus of it. And so ABC Disney told me before the show went live, you need to put up a website or do something because a lot of people will try to reach you. Well, it was kind of true, but they certainly weren't really like asking me serious questions. What really happened is I put that website up long before the show aired. From the time we filmed it to the time it aired, they saved it for Sweeps Week. It got like 23 million views or something. And then it's been airing on Lifetime Channel ever since now and then. I put up the website greensmoothiegirl.com just to tell my family's story and what had happened to us in the 15 years prior to that show going live, and why I make a green smoothie for my children. And by the time the show aired, my site was already totally viral. It was getting hundreds of thousands of views. So here's what happened is 20 years ago, I was super overweight. I weighed over 200 pounds. I've been diagnosed with 21 different diseases. I had everything from a tumor, so cancer, to 4 autoimmune diseases. I was on drugs for all of them, to Cardiovascular issues. I was having mini strokes, TIA, trans ischemic attacks. My right arm would go numb and I couldn't see or speak for hours. I had to go in a dark room and take a bunch of drugs. I had high blood pressure. So cardiovascular problems, cancer problems, autoimmune problems, you name it, 21 different things, 5 years of infertility. And this is all going on in my 20s. And luckily I had something to draw on. When my baby was finally born after 5 artificial inseminations, his twin died. I really had a hard row to hoe. When he was born, he was perfectly healthy, 9 months old, 7 months in, I did what the pediatrician told me and I weaned him onto cow milk, onto formula followed by cow milk. And I'll tell you, Deborah, his health absolutely tanked when I weaned him onto basically the standard American diet, which, the pediatricians and all the other moms were doing. And my son's health took a nosedive, and the next 9 months would be a complete nightmare where there are many, many nights that I thought he would die. Didn't think he would make it through the night, in and out of emergency rooms. He was on antibiotics. He was on bronchodilators. We would strap what we called the gas mask to his face every 4 hours. And probably the scariest of all was the liquid steroids. We were prescribed 5 courses of liquid steroids by the time he was 15 months old. And I remember when I was walking out the door with the 6th, the pediatrician told me, oh, and by the way, it was literally a by the way as I was walking out the door, by the way, 5 courses of liquid steroids is guaranteed to stunt your son's growth. Just ethically, I need to tell you that. And I was like, well, then I handed it back to him. I said, then I don't want this. That's like, so what else? And he said, you've had everything else. We don't have anything else to give you. So it's this or nothing. I went home. I never did fill that prescription. I actually never filled another prescription for my son or any of my other children, because I went home and I went to my knees. Just, what do I do now? I have to fix this. Medicine is out of answers for me. We've been in and out of hospitals and doctors' offices for so many months. Really terrifying edge of losing him situations. And, to make a long story short, in the 1980s, when I was in high school, my grandmother and my uncle were both diagnosed with cancer. And my uncle was 31, early stage 1 Hodgkin's. My grandmother was 52, diagnosed with a deadly metastatic stage 3C melanoma. And my grandmother did the Gerson protocol. She was like drinking green juice, vegetable juices all day long, ate nothing but plants for 2 years. My uncle did chemo and radiation. I watched my uncle die in 18 months. He died of chemotherapy. He didn't die of cancer. He had one of the most treatable forms of cancer, and they caught it at a stage 1. Wasn't even symptomatic yet. My grandmother, who was given a year to live, didn't do chemo and radiation, and she ate nothing but plants and juiced greens and alkalized her body and oxygenated her body and flooded her body with nutrition. And she lived another 25 years.
Wow.
And she, I was a sophomore in high school watching all this. And the reason I bring this up is that I had that to draw on. And I had watched when I was in high school how powerful food is as medicine. And so that came to me as I was desperately in need of some inspiration and some information. And the day I came home from being offered a 6th course of liquid steroids and told that they didn't have anything else for my 15-month-old failure to thrive son, he'd been diagnosed failure to thrive because he fell below the 5th percentile. I decided to take things into my own hands. I went in my kitchen, I opened up my fridge and freezer and my pantry, and I threw out so much processed food because that's really all we ate. I threw away all the processed meat and all the flour and sugar and dairy products, and I would never bring those back into my home. I can't say that we never ate it again, but it wasn't in my home, and it still isn't. And my son and I went on an interesting journey. I went to the store. I didn't even know what to buy. I was just at rock bottom, and I knew that I had to do something. And I remember going in my kitchen within that couple weeks after I threw all the stuff out of my kitchen, and I put a bunch of stuff in the blender, and I put in 2 handfuls of spinach and a handful of alfalfa sprouts. I was like, oh, this is really healthy. I'm just going to blend all this up in my blender. Now, keep in mind, 10 years ago, when I put up the site greensmoothiegirl.com, there were 50 searches a month worldwide on the term green smoothie. Nobody had ever heard of such a thing. It just wasn't even a thing yet, really. It's not that I invented it. It's that nobody was talking about it. When I would take a green smoothie to a soccer game back then, 10 years ago, everyone, and I do mean everyone, would say, "Ooh, what is that?" Now it's like, it's everywhere, right? It's a household term. So I, I blended this stuff up in my blender, and I went outside. It was summertime. This is 23 years ago. And I put my son in the grass, and I sat down and I started drinking this stuff because I was going to do the same thing I was doing for him. But it never in a million years occurred to me that my son would eat 2 handfuls of spinach and a handful of alfalfa sprouts. Nobody feeds babies that. Nobody feeds 1-year-olds that. 1-year-olds eat little sliced up hot dogs, right? They don't, and bottles of milk. They don't eat spinach and alfalfa sprouts. So I'm sitting there on the porch drinking this, and my son walks over and he looks at it because it's very strange looking. He hadn't ever seen me eat anything like this before. And he said, "What's that?" 15 months old. And this flash of genius came to me, and I said, "Ice cream." And so,
like every good mother.
Right. Yeah, and so, of course, then he said, "You can predict it, right? Can I have some?"
Yeah.
Some?
Oh, yeah.
And so then I just kept going with it, right? I said, no, it's mommy's. And of course, I wasn't totally like, there's no way he would drink this. Would he drink this? And so I said, no, it's mommy's. And he said, and then he started begging, of course, please, 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 please. And because I was just acting like it was the most delicious, ice cream shake I'd ever had. So I put the glass in front of my son, and I sat there and watched while my son drank 2 cups of spinach and a cup of alfalfa sprouts to the bottom of the cup, and then made slurping noises and asked me for more.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the beginning of an amazing journey that I think now, I thought that I was doing it to save my son's life, really. And then over the next several years, as we made one shift after another, the more energy we got, the more pounds I dropped, the more interested I was in putting more and more and more habits into play. And I had the energy to do it, because like I said, I had 21 diseases and was, 70 pounds overweight at the time. And, when you're in that situation, and I'm sure some people listening might be able to relate to this, because it's the situation that the standard American diet and this lifestyle that Americans are living, it's the situation it puts us in. You don't have any energy to do something. Everything about what I just said sounds overwhelming. But when you put one little thing into play, and this is where, when we get into talking about vibrational frequency in a minute, you and I, which is what I'm so passionate about right now, what my new book is about, one simple shift can put energies into motion that cause each subsequent change to be so much easier. Then it's literally just like rolling the boulder down the other side. I started that day with that green smoothie. I was so excited that I had found a way to get a 1-year-old to eat nutritious, whole, high vibration foods. And so every day since then, it's been 23 years now, every day since then, all of my kids, I would go on to have 3 more children without the infertility problems. I dropped the 70 pounds. All 21 diseases went away, not just from the green smoothie a day, although that was a huge high impact habit. And that's why I start people there. And that's why the site was greensmoothiegirl.com, is because that's where it started. And that is the most high impact habit I can start people on. But I went down a journey. I never brought the processed foods back. What I learned that day is that I could make whole, highly nutritious, healing, high fiber, nutrient dense foods that my family would eat and that we would enjoy. That was the big awareness that day. And so then I was a mom on a mission. And not only did I, over a fairly short period of time, ditch all the pounds and ditch all the diagnoses and ditch all the drugs I was on, but my son, who was failure to thrive at that juncture, my son went on to regain his weight. And he, in his senior year of high school, led his team to the state playoffs in 4A baseball, where he hit 2 grand slams in the state playoffs. He pitched a shutout in the finals. He was number 2 in the state. No, he was number 1 in the state for RBIs in baseball, and he was 6'3" when he was named most valuable player and carried off the field at the state playoffs. And that was sort of his moment of glory. And that was that pinnacle that he got to live out his destiny. I just don't think we were going there, if we had not made some shifts. And I believe that powerful outcomes like that are possible for anyone willing to just start putting something into play. That first decision, that first habit, and you do have to make it habitual. It doesn't have to be the same green smoothie. I'm not making the same green smoothie I did that first day 23 years ago. In fact, my green smoothies have actually gotten far more nutritious. I used to have pineapple juice be the base of it for years, and it was years before I realized I don't have to use pineapple juice. I could just use greens, all kinds of different greens, superfoods, some fruits, and water. And I put things in like aloe vera. I might put in ginger or turmeric. And my green smoothies have gotten more and more ninja over the years. And here's the crazy thing. This gets into a little bit about the talk about vibrational frequency, which my new book Vibe is all about, is that everything has a vibrational frequency. When you build your cells out of better energies, out of higher vibration materials, and what's in that green smoothie that I just described to you is high vibration materials, you're actually building cells to be more resilient, to be more disease proof, to live out their destiny, to live longer, to live without mutation. And everything about your life gets better. Not just you lose weight. That's when people need to lose weight, they have a hard time thinking about anything else because that's goal number one.
Anything else. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been an exciting journey. That's the short version. But the bottom line is my son's the entire trajectory of his life changed. My other 3 children, all 4 of my children would never again be on an antibiotic. How many moms raise 4 kids 23 years without ever putting them on an antibiotic? And the reason is that I know the alternatives to antibiotics. I know what's in the plant world, the natural substances world, the substances that don't kill off all the healthy bacteria in your gut, which is most of your immune system. The antibiotics is just one. Staying off of antibiotics and being able to treat illnesses naturally is just one of the side benefits of this journey that we've been on that has been so powerful for us. I used to think it was to save my son's life. And then for the several years after that, I'm like, oh my gosh, so many amazing things are happening for my whole family because of this, including no more infertility, including all these 21 diseases disappearing, so many ripple effects for my family, then for my extended family who started learning from me and implementing these whole foods habits that I teach on greensmoothiegirl.com. And, this was before greensmoothiegirl.com, but I'll tell you, now I feel like the mission is bigger. And all those dreadful things that happened to my son, where we almost lost him many times, and everything along that journey was really so that I can be part of helping other people up level into a higher vibration life as well.
Amazing. Amazing. So it's a perfect segue and transition to what you're doing. So we keep talking about vibrational frequency, and I know listeners have probably heard that concept before, but may not have a real grasp on, okay, what is this? Because we can't see it and grab it. So can you help? Let's describe vibration and vibrational frequency, and maybe jump off of this. I love the quote you've shared by Einstein, everything in life is vibration. So everything meaning thoughts, emotions, music, everything in the food you're talking about. Can you help kind of bring that to a clarity point for listeners?
In addition to Einstein saying everything in life is vibration, which has rolled out not just into quantum physics and seeing everything as energies, it's become this whole field within biology or quantum biology, and understanding that you and I as living beings are in energy exchange right now. What's amazing about being in the post-information age is that you and I are energy exchanging right now. You and I are literally sharing electrons with other people across the planet. This is not woo-woo stuff. This is absolutely documented. I could talk for hours about what is happening that makes us all one. And all these energies are flowing together. Our emotions are flowing through us or getting stuck. That's one of the subjects of the book, is how to keep our negative emotions, these energies flowing through us, and recognizing them for what they are. My past as a psychotherapist, I wish I'd been taught this stuff in grad school, because just like I feel like all this nutrition I studied where I was learning about calories and nutrient density, that's so Newtonian biology, right? Like there's an Einsteinian biology that we need to look at, and that is that after Einstein said that, Tesla came along, and he said, if you want the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And when I came across these two quotes within a few weeks of each other, I was like, wait a minute. Why don't I know the secrets of the universe? Why don't I know more about energy, frequency, and vibration? Well, the deeper I dug, I've been researching for about 4 years now, the more mind-blowing things I encountered and more dots I connected. Medicine has been deep in the study of energies for years. And it's not just woo-woo stuff, and it's not just stuff that functional practitioners or the alternative or holistic practitioners are using. I'm talking about mainstream medicine. If you don't think there's vibrational frequency to things, go ask a medical doctor what EEGs and ECGs are. They are measuring vibration. They're measuring the vibration of your brain, the vibration of your heart. There are institutions like the Heart Mouth Institute who have documented that if you and I are in a room together, Deborah, and we're not even looking at each other, we could be facing the opposite direction, but you're hooked up to an EEG and I'm hooked up to an ECG, and my heart emanates gratitude. I sit there in gratitude or compassion or love. Your brain waves register it. Your brain waves register the higher frequencies of love or compassion or peace or joy, these high vibration emotions, these emotional states, these energies, okay, because emotions are just energies, just like we are just energies. DNA is energies. I was talking to, you probably know our friend Ann Shippey, who's an MD, and I was camping with her last week, and she said, DNA is energies. Medical doctors know the power of energies. Dr. Oz has said it's the next frontier in medicine. Ask a doctor what lasers can do, because lasers can now, through a 1/2-inch incision, go in and cut out an organ and cut it in pieces and take it out through a 1/2-inch incision, where before these focused frequencies, that is that lasers can cut focused frequencies. This is how powerful frequencies are, and the reason why even we as lay people, as regular people, we may not have to understand how lasers can cut and destroy, and lasers can also heal, but we can talk about what this means for us on a personal daily basis, and how we can live in higher vibrations, and how we can tap into these high frequencies everywhere instead of living in the lower frequencies, in these miserable energetic states that too many of us are living in. Because after the surgery, where a laser can cut and kill, let's say it cuts your gallbladder and pulls it out in pieces, another laser of a different kind, of focused healing frequencies, the kind that heal human tissues and that help cells regenerate, can cause you to heal at 10 times the speed. That is energy medicine. Okay. So if anybody thinks that's woo, I'm telling you, it is the next frontier in medicine. So let's go back to you and me right here and now. A healthy human being can be measured at 62 to 68 hertz of energy. And the reason I'm using hertz isn't that it's the only way to measure vibrational frequency, because we have multiple energetic fields. We have electrical fields, we have magnetic fields, we have electromagnetic fields, and then ones that I won't even go into, but there are a number of energy fields that have been documented, or we know the effects of them and we haven't really documented them yet. But there are scientists measuring vibrational frequency in other measurements besides hertz. And right now I'm working with a PhD scientist by the name of Beverly Rubik to do some research and be able to show pictures of vibrational frequencies around food, around people, around the different substances we use to treat ourselves. And the reason is that I'm going to tell you a principle of quantum physics here that's very simple and it's extremely important. And that is a substance of a higher frequency can cause a substance of a lower frequency to increase. And what this means is the obvious application here is that if I eat a high frequency food and greens are about as high frequency as it gets, so drinking a green juice or a green smoothie or eating a big salad full of vegetables and nuts and seeds, this is going to raise your vibration because those foods are a higher frequency than your 62 to 68 hertz of energy. But also, it doesn't even have to be what you eat. It's what you apply to your skin. Okay. Are you putting, cosmetics from the drug counter on your skin? If so, these are low frequency chemical materials that will always lower your vibration. It's also even more removed than that. If you and I are in the same room together, just by what we were talking about earlier, that we could have our backs to each other, we're not looking at each other, we're not talking to each other. We are energetically either raising or lowering each other's frequencies just by being in each other's energy field. We're doing that right now. When you talk to me, when I talk to you, we are either raising or lowering each other's frequency, which is we can help raise another person into the frequencies of peace, love, gratitude, joy, those high frequency emotions I keep mentioning, or we can take each other into anxiety, anger, fear, despair, frustration, and that makes our power being in each other's energy field like you and I are right now. See, this has never happened before in the history of time, is that you and I get to energetically impact others in ways that was never ever possible before in the history of time. We're doing it right now, even though we're not in the same room together. That's pretty exciting, right?
That's very exciting. Very exciting. So, okay, so let me pause it. I want you to say that again.
Yes.
Will you say that statement?
Yep.
So a substance of a higher frequency.
Write down these two things. I'm glad you locked in on the two most important things I've told you is that a healthy human being, according to Bruce Tyno at University of Washington, is whose research I'm quoting right here. A healthy human being, all the healthy people he measured were being between 62 and 68 hertz of energy. Now, the principle of quantum physics that I said, if you're the writing things down type, write this down, put it in the notes in your phone. Think about the impact of this because it has everything to do with the people you hang out with, what you use to medicate with, what you're eating, and what you're doing with your emotional metabolism when negatives happen in your day. Is a substance of a higher frequency can cause a substance of a lower frequency to increase. And the opposite of that is true as well. Okay. A substance of a lower frequency can bring you down.
Got it. I was wondering about that when you were talking about we have the impact, people have the power. So can we choose it?
Can we choose it?
How to use that?
The book Vibe is all about there's dozens of little choices we make in a day. And it's just as easy, maybe even easier to make the high vibration choice as it is to make the low vibe choice. And we talk about vibing and resonating all the time, don't we? And we some of us, we don't know exactly what that means. And I want to define that. I want to change the conversation so that people don't see themselves as entirely Newtonian beings made up of atoms and molecules and structures and organs and skin and bones. That's not that those principles don't have value. It's that there's more. It's that everything has energies, even fixed objects like the chair you might be sitting on right now. It's all energies. And when you understand that, you can start making different choices. You can charge your electrical being, your battery. You can ground your entire self and see remarkable changes in how you feel and whether you're able to get back quickly to those places of flow and joy and creativity. I mean, creativity is that's a whole other talk, is the high vibration of creativity and what human beings have brought to the universe through creativity. That is a high vibration that we should all have more of. And when we are making choices that bring our vibe down, we are less productive. We don't have the good ideas. We aren't attracting other high vibration people. We aren't attracting all the good stuff into our environment. That's the thing. When we build ourselves out of higher vibration materials and we are higher vibration people, we are attracting better stuff. We're literally energetically attracting better opportunities, more money, more career advancement, more health. We're more disease proof. And I'm sure you can, as an example of that, I'm sure you can relate to this, that there are people that you meet who within 5 seconds of meeting them, you're either almost rocking back on your heels and you're trying to find a way out of the conversation. You can't get away from this person fast enough. Right? Right?
Run.
Yeah. Has this happened to you?
Right. It has. And actually the
Yes.
opposite was happening this morning with a gal that I just had met, but we were just clicking. And then we were talking about a third party, and we were just, it was difficult to describe him. We both met him. We've talked to him separately. And I said, isn't he just good energy? I mean, you just love him. And, I'm from the Midwest, and I'm here in Boulder, and suddenly I've become a hugger, and that's my measuring stick. It's like, if there's somebody I want to hug, I mean, it's like, it's okay now. But there are those people that are like, what are you doing coming in?
Well, hugging is a powerful form of energy exchange, and we crave it for a reason. We crave physical contact for a reason. It's very healing for us to be touched by someone with a resonant frequency. And there are people who are energy healers. If your show notes will allow it, I will give you a little quiz that I've put together so you can identify if you're an energy healer, if you're an intuitive, if you're an empath, if you're a highly sensitive person, and then what that means. Because when you understand those things, in the Western world, we have so criticized the empaths and the intuitives and the highly sensitive people because we think they're emotional. We think they're, weak or something. It's not a very conducive culture to these folks who have these energetic gifts, but they're absolutely that. They're energetic gifts. When your intuition is telling you something, or when your intuition is drawing you to this gentleman who has resonant frequencies with you, that's powerful information. It's not something you can look up in a book, but it's really powerful information. And we need to empower the intuitives. We need to empower the empaths. We need to sit in awe of those gifts, and we need to develop them in ourselves, because there's a whole world of information out there where people read energies really well. And I don't know about you, but I want more of those. I want more of those gifts. I want to develop mine. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And absolutely, we do have room in the show notes, so we'd love that. I want to flip gears really quickly. And so listeners, that here at Flipping 50, we're talking about exercise and hormones and at midlife. And there is the science of, what might be optimal for hormone balance. But oftentimes, Robyn, I also talk about, okay, here's the science, but here's the art part. You have to love it. So you can't choose it just for fat burning. You can't choose it just for calorie burning. You can't choose it just because it's within the parameter of, this probably won't turn your cortisol up. There also is what I call the joy factor. And I think it very much relates to vibration.
It absolutely does. And there is nothing that has frustrated you in your life thus far that can't be at least partly explained, if not fully explained, by the ways energies are moving through you and the kinds of energies you've been choosing, whether you've had the language for it or not, how you're relating to other people, how you are giving and taking in the universe, who and what and how, all of it has powerful roots in Einsteinian thinking. This idea that the secrets of the universe are truly found in understanding energies. And I think I told you, Deborah, that I have a little stash as the book is about to release on October 31st. This will not be available after October 31st, but I have a little stash. And if your listeners go to this link before we're all sold out, I have some free books to give away. And we just ask that you chip in the $9.95 shipping and handling. But if you go to flipping50.com/vibe, I have a limited number of hardcover books. It's a $26 book. After October 31st, it'll be on Amazon. I'm sure you get a discount there, but free book plus shipping available at flipping50.com/vibe until we've given them all out.
Awesome. That is fantastic. Thanks so much for doing that. Okay, listeners. So, but while you're tripping over your Halloween costume and whatever you're going to be, you got to get there. So I want to ask you a question. So in your book, you say living things don't stay at the same frequency. So we're constantly changing, moving up or down most of the time. So that means small changes can move mountains.
Well, a small change of a few hertz of increase in your frequency can mean the difference between feeling stuck, feeling frustrated, getting angry easily, and getting back in flow, being a flexible and forgiving person. Again, just energies. And so small changes can be very powerful because we don't need radical differences in our frequencies. A lot of times we need a little bit of fine tuning. And so knowing the frequencies that are in the book of different substances and how to start tuning into that can be really powerful because, we're always oscillating. Every cell is oscillating. You yourself, you're vibrating, and you can measure that oscillation, and that's what vibration is. And so, we can test what drinking a cup of coffee does to your vibration. It will literally drop you 10 hertz. And I hate to say that because I know everybody loves coffee.
Oh, I know. I just am
well, I'll tell you, if you're going to drink coffee, drink a glass of green juice first. And, I can't say I never drink coffee either. It's always organic. And, I would sweeten it with a little stevia and a little organic coconut milk. Like if you're going to drink coffee, don't drink Starbucks. That's not even coffee. It should literally just be called Starbucks. It was one of the first genetically modified foods. But I'm just using coffee as an example. I mean, maybe I should pick on, Monster and Rockstar because they certainly are worse. But we can literally measure what happens to a person's energies when they eat certain foods. So make sure you're eating more plant foods because that's where the powerful energies are.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I love that. And then I really love this. So everyone listening who's been in our audience and on our community for a while knows I'm not a calorie counter. I'm not a fan of that. I'm about quality, and let's let quality take care of the quantity. So this is so in alignment with it. But, in your book, you talk about evaluating food according to artificial, boring, somewhat irrelevant constructs. So, Robyn, you say calories are sort of pointless, and I love you for that. So as a way to evaluate food, not good. So are counting grams of protein, fat, carbs, and that there's a better way to evaluate food.
The more I study and the deeper I go into what's available to know out there in quantum biology, the more I feel that evaluating food by its calories or by grams of proteins, fats, and carbs is pretty useless. And the problem with it is that we're all focusing on the wrong things. And while we're looking over here at how many grams of protein I got today, we aren't paying attention to the energetic properties of our food. And, how many grams of protein has little to do with anything, has little to do, it's kind of a bodybuilder construct that I am so worried that I need to prop up my muscle mass with enough protein. Well, people have eaten about 10% protein in most cultures of the world since the dawn of time. And according to American ways, average Americans eating 20% protein, we don't really have a protein problem. There's no protein deficiency diseases. And so we're looking over here when we should be looking over there. Calories is an industry manufactured concept, and the food manufacturing industry wants us focused on grams of proteins, fats, and carbs, and they want us focused on calories because then they can keep iterating all these packaged foods and keep us head down looking at these ridiculous concepts that have nothing to do with disease risk, have nothing to do with our weight, have nothing to do with how we feel and whether we're in flow and whether we're in the high frequencies. And so, in the book, we talk quite a bit about how to evaluate things differently. We want nothing less than a total mindset overhaul when it comes to how we look at food, because there are some low calorie foods that are dreadfully low vibration. And there are some high calorie foods that are nourishing to your every cell and will bring you up several hertz.
Love that. I love that. Okay. So everybody listening is going like, is she going to talk about the fact that she promotes protein? So just to talk about the elephant in the room, listeners. So yes, I do believe for women 50 and over, and we start losing muscle mass at 30 and over. So everybody knows, Robyn, I do let them know that there's a quota that we're associating with. So that's where eyebrows may be going up as people are driving on their commute listening. So, but I am
there's quality protein and there's less quality protein. The point isn't that protein isn't good, and the point isn't that everybody has to eat 10% protein. Yeah. The point is that eat quality proteins, the kind that are as close to nature as possible. And there are 10 years ago, all the protein powders in bags were crappy. Now there's many more better options. So hopefully that softened that a bit.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I still think the point is, when it all comes back to it, women who right now are flipping 50, and I'm hoping this changes with the next generation of women who turn 50, they'll be better educated by the time they get here. But we still default, even though logically we know there's a better way, or we're even sick of it. We're sick of counting calories. We're tired of it. We can default to it because it's what was pounded into us for so long. Yeah. So I'm totally on board with you. Okay, I could talk to you all day. Love everything, and I love the direction you're going, and want to talk about how we raise our vibe and so much more with you. But I'm going to bring this back to you for this one last question. So what is a question that I have not asked you yet that you wish I would have?
There's a lot to talk about. I mean, we're talking about quantum physics applied to us personally, but one thing, I just want to give you something really quick and actionable that you can do that doesn't take hours in the kitchen and is very, very simple and easy. And that is, make sure you go outside for 5 or 10 minutes a day and do 5 things at once. Here's what you do. You twist your spine. You use that 10 minutes to become more agile. You're wringing toxins out of your spine. You're getting energies flowing. At the same time that you're doing that, get in the sunshine if you can. Go out there barefoot. Go out there barefoot, because now you're grounding and you're also charging your battery in the sunshine. You're picking up vitamin D on your skin, which is making your bones healthier. And while you're doing that, see if you can take 30 very deep breaths and can listen to a meditation. You can go into a meditative, reflective state where you think about all the things that you're deeply grateful for. You could be having a bad day and still go into a place of gratitude, but gratitude is one of the highest vibrations. That's why there's so many people talking about it. It's been so studied. People take it into labs and show what happens to someone's vibrational frequency when they sit for 5 minutes in a space of gratitude, or even 8 seconds. In the book, I show a chart of what happens, what the vibration of gratitude looks like when you're experiencing it on your EEG, and it looks like it feels. It looks like flow. It's soft sine waves. When you look at someone in anger, it looks like it feels. It's sharp, jagged, little, small oscillations with sharp points on an EEG. It's absolutely amazing. So go outside every day, get your feet, your entire body, if possible, in touch with earth. Do some yoga. Take deep breaths. Charge your electromagnetic field in the sunshine, and reflect on all the things that you're grateful for. These might seem like nothings, but they're not. And when you put those 5 things together in a 10-minute daily practice, the effects of that will last for many hours.
Love it. Love it. So simple and yet so powerful. And we have the ability to do it.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Robyn. Okay, just to remind everybody, so we're going to have the link for Robyn's book. You got to be quick and go and get it before it's gone by October 31st. That's flipping50.com/vibe. And we're going to place the quiz, she promised, into the show notes. So if you're walking or driving right now, you don't have to write all this down. It'll be there in the show notes. And last, if you have a question, leave it below the show link at flipping50.com. I love hearing from you. And if this episode was helpful, please leave us a rating in iTunes. It really helps. And then share this with a friend so you can surround yourself with a supportive community of women on the same journey. To get the most from this week's episode, check out today's show notes at flipping50.com/podcast, where you'll find the juicy free download and the resources that we mentioned on the show. And let's start flipping 50 together.